My name is Abram Arrington. I am 55 years old. I went to prison November 7th, 1989, and I was released from prison February 27, 2020. I served 30 years, about 3 months. I was granted a rare grant of immediate clemency by Governor Polis. I got the notification for that December 20th, 2019.
My name is William Melvin Lee Jr. I'm 49 years old. I went to prison June 14th, 1992. I got out August 18th, 2021. I did 29 years, 4 months, and 2 days. Governor Hickenlooper gave me clemency.
My name is David L. Coleman. I was granted clemency by Governor Hickenlooper. Spent 34 years in prison and 9 months. I got out September the 18th, 2021.
My name is Hassan Latif. I'm the founder of Second Chance Center. I'm going to speak about my 3-year experience with the Clemency Goal, but I got to go back. Because I got to go back to Abram Mustafa Arrington, which is someone on staff here. This is a guy that I did a lot of time with. I was in the same facility with him. We shared a facility for 10 years. And this is somebody that I grew to love and care about deeply because I knew that he was doing a life sentence for a murder he did not commit. I knew this. In 2019, Governor Polis got elected. Then I get a call in October of that year from someone from the governor's office and asked me if I was interested, that he wanted to know if I was interested in being on the clemency board. I'm like, does he know who he's asking? And she started laughing. She said, yes, Mr. Latif, he knows. I said, I'd be honored. The next month, I get the first package of clemency applications, and Abram's name is the first one. And I started crying in my office. Like, to me, that was a sign, divine sign that this man was getting ready to come home, if I didn't mess it up.
I was born in Massillon, Ohio. It was pretty fun, as a child. I knew that we were poor at the time. I didn't know exactly how poor we were until I got older and realized just how bad off we were. But that was just because there was so much love in the house as far as like my mom and my brother and sister and things like that. When I was about 15, I moved back to Colorado Springs. My father was living there. When I moved there at 15, I knew then that I wanted to go into the military. Signed the papers myself when I turned 18, and I went into the U.S. Air Force. I ended up working on airplanes. I became a crew chief on C-130 aircraft, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed that work. It was very fulfilling. I got out the military, but 3 days after I returned to Colorado Springs is when I actually was arrested.
I had an extended family. I grew up with an older sister and my brother, my mother and dad. Brian is my older brother. That's pretty much my best friend. Followed him since I was young, so we just end up going to prison together.
As a senior, I was just kind of curious whether I wanted to go to college or the military. I decided on the Marine Corps, walked in a recruit depot station and joined the United States Marine Corps. And I remember saying to myself, man, what the hell did I get myself into, While I was in the military, I began to drink alcohol and picked up a drug habit and wound up getting discharged early. And when I got out, I continued to use, and it got out of hand, and I ended up catching the murder case, man, and wind up going to prison for a life sentence.
A lot of people have the general misconception that the penitentiary is full of some sort of sociopaths. People who just chose to be outlaws and go to prison. When the reality is that the prisons in America are dumping grounds for people with mental health issues, unaddressed or ill-addressed, or substance abuse or substance use disorders that they don't have the wherewithal, the resources, or the access to deal with in an appropriate way. But one thing about Dave, he seemed different. And I got a chance to live in the same pod with him. And he was somebody who, he respected people.
When you're in prison with a life sentence, I was just trying to wrap my head around that, and I happened to walk into a college class on a fluke and signed up and went to one class, and I liked it. I went to another class. That turned into a month. That month turned into a year. Next thing I know, I had an associate's degree. And so I went another 2.5, 3 years and ended up with a bachelor's degree of social psychology. And this was in my first 6 years of incarceration. And you know, that was a defining moment. That actually set the tone for the next 30 years or so of incarceration, man, in terms of my confidence, my perception of myself, others, and how I saw the world. And so that took me off into a path where I continued to mentor other inmates and got involved in other programs such as the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, became an instructor in that program. Pretty soon, you know, I was recognized as a mentor in the prison. I never really seen myself as a mentor. That was how I was viewed. And so I eventually molded myself into that role and continue to do that today.
And over the years, I would hear about the things he was doing inside. I came back through a number of facilities, and on occasion I got to see Dave, you know, and put my arms around him, which was a good thing. And always felt that if he got an opportunity to come back to the world, that it would be to our benefit. And I don't mean Second Chance Center, I mean the world. You understand what I'm saying? Just like a quality individual.
Dave Coleman and Mustafa, they were older guys that, you know, just kind of showed us the ropes. When I first got there, you know, it's just trying to understand why and how I got there and how I was going to get out, you know. So I just started getting into different programs like Thinking for a Change, 7 Habits, you know, things to help, you know, with, you know, cognitive thinking and things like that.
I really did feel like, one, it was a bold move on the part of the governor to put someone with a felony background on the clemency board. I thought it was a courageous move of his. I thought it was a forward-looking and progressive one because, you know, the voice needed to be represented in that space. And I really did feel honored to be chosen for that space, you know. I thought and found that my being placed on the board gave a lot of hope to people inside and to their families out here. After a while, it started to feel like false hope. When I couldn't talk to family members, all of them wanted to call me and talk to me. But I made a commitment when I got on the board. There's certain things about confidentiality and stuff like that. So I wind up telling family members that I know just want to be comforted by the conversation with me, like, look, I really wish I could talk to you about the details of your loved one's case, but I would have to recuse myself, and I would rather be there advocating, if you understand. But it always felt like I was just pushing them off, like I'm sure they were accustomed to feeling, you know, in other instances. It was never a good feeling for me in that way. But then the handful of clemencies he did give, when those people would come through here, that was the best part of it, you know, seeing them, you know, walk in here after perhaps imagining themselves never being able to walk out of prison alive, so.
I don't even know if you can really express the feeling of knowing that you received clemency. It was joyful, it was crying, happy. It was, you know, happy to see our family, you know, happy to see our friends, you know, just happy to see all the work come to fruition that we came out, you know. So, I mean, the first 48 hours we was in the halfway house, so we couldn't really do much, but we was able to see our family for a little while, spend time with them for a few hours, and them few hours was just like a new life, you know. So that's all I could say. It was just like a new life.
The amount of pressure that you have, really anyone under the circumstances of having a life sentence is palpable. You can feel it. The pressure weighs on you like a coat, and it's like always there. It never leaves you. It's there every single second, every single day. When you wake up, when you go to sleep, you feel it. It's hard to even explain to someone who hasn't experienced it. You literally feel it. And all of a sudden, to have that lifted, it's like it's just literally gone. I am surprised that I didn't even just float over the walls at that point, just float out of there.
You know, you filed a clemency request to the governor, and man, it took at least about 3-4 years before you ever hear anything back. You know, those things are rarely granted, rarely given, so I really just never knew that I was gonna get it. But as that bus pulled off the prison parking lot, I was really taking in all of the sceneries, trying to snapshot and remember everything that was taking place. When we finally got to Denver, Colorado, where we were going to be placed into a halfway house, everything was so new abruptly. We had freedoms, we can come and go as we please. People were offering us snacks. It was just a feeling that I never felt before. I was really intentional about connecting with my kids. I made sure I go out with all of the nephew and nieces, man. A lot of them wasn't even born when I was incarcerated. So I'm meeting folks for the first time. Went out and ate a lot. Put on some extra pounds, blood pressure went up a little bit, but I'm holding it down, man. So family was really important to me, man. That's something that I value. And so that was big coming out. And then I was fortunate enough to land a great job at the Second Chance Center. And man, I loved that job. It was like it was perfectly tailored for me because it was all centered around empathy, really caring, and giving back to a population of folks that experience similar things that I've experienced, justice involved folks coming out of the county jails, coming out of the prisons. I know that I can never give back a lot of the things that I've taken. But this gave me an opportunity to give back as much as I can. And I tell you what, man, I feel like I really made a difference and gave back and helped people that really need it. So I'm blessed and fortunate to be working with the Second Chance Center.
He said this morning that it never dawned on him, you know, that he'd have an opportunity to work with Second Chance Center. For me, that was always the vision, was if you ever come home, I need you. We need you. This work needs you. You know, this man taught 7 Habits of Highly Effective People for like 7 years inside. Damn, yeah, we need all that.
I came in contact with Second Chance Center through the programs in prison. They used to come to the prison and talk to us and let us know that we had, you know, help once we got out. While I was in prison, I had started an electrical apprenticeship. So when we went to Second Chance, they let us know that they had an apprenticeship program, and I wanted to join that, see if I can continue with my electrical apprenticeship. It was a good program. I learned a lot, you know, figure out what you really want to do, you know. And my brother and I was able to get a place in Montbello, you know, to bring our mother out here so we could take care of her as she gets older and, you know, just give her a comfortable life. It's a wonderful feeling being able to have a job, you know, earn money, you know, and just be able to live life, you know.
My uncle would call me at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And my Uncle Larry, I mean, he's so comical. He'd be like, Abe. And I'd be like, yeah, Uncle Larry, what's going on? He says, yeah, I just want to hear your voice. And so, excuse me. But that's how it really impacts your family, you know, just dealing with that kind of stuff, you know. But the good thing is, like I said, it's really a positive thing. Once you get out and you could start, you know, having those moments again. Before I actually had moved to Colorado, I had met this girl. You know, I was going to try to get her to marry me, and she actually had refused because she said she thought we were too young. You know, our lives had, of course, taken very different directions and stuff like that. So she said, well, I'm coming to Colorado, you know, and we're going to get married. And we ended up getting married. And Hassan actually officiated. He actually officiated my wedding, man. And that was really, really, really cool. That was one of the great moments of my life.
That's another thing. When people are sent to prison, it doesn't just impact them. Everybody should be concerned because 98% of the people that are currently incarcerated will one day be back on the streets. So to me, it only behooves us to think about what they have to endure while they're incarcerated and what kind of assistance is available for them when they come home.
You're not the same person you was when you went in. Even in 5 years, you're gonna be a different person. When you're talking about 3 and 4 decades, I think that more people, especially serving that kind of time, should be released. I believe in second chances. No one want to be judged and defined by the one bad choice that they made in life.
As far as long-term offenders, I think they understand more about how important life is. They deserve that second chance because they get to mature more as they go through life in prison and show that change. So there's a lot of men and women that deserve a second chance that has done a lot of time.
I just desperately wanted so bad for so many other people who could really, do great things in society. And I think it's great to have agencies and organizations like the Second Chance Center that when people come out, we can help people, get the things that they need to help them transition back into life and just hopefully make people feel better about giving people that second opportunity. And that's what I really would love to see more of. I mean, really.
Hey, why not get those folks out there and get them back into society, man, and let them become taxpayer citizens, you know what I'm saying?
When you get out, you can be a productive citizen, contribute to society in a positive way.
Elvis has left the building.
Not going back, never going back.